Jada Emperor checking in once again. Y'all already know what time it is. Another free game topic. And this was going to be just us talking. How did I become spiritual? So, first things first, it starts with like generational curses in your bloodline. Like, if you have you will probably have several generational curses. One could be abuse, one could be narcissism, one could be, I'm just naming off the stuff, the top of my head that I maybe have experienced. Abandonment issues, molestation. Um, that's just to name a few of them. To the point to where you can't express your emotions, you can't be who you truly are, and that's mainly what I like to center my content around. Is just being yourself. Like you can think about it, you can contemplate on it, you can second guess yourself multiple times, but at the end of the day, you just got to be yourself. But how I became spiritual, so I since a kid, it's like basically since I became conscious, I want to say anywhere from between 1 to 5, I was like, shit's different. I was just like, I was a baby, normal shit, crying and shit. But like in my mind, I just knew like shit is different. Everything is not what people say. You got to use your. I just had a different type of mindset that I would always think differently on my own. Like I had a mindset that was not similar to anyone in this world, type shit. But about 1 to 5, I was realizing what's going on. I had a little brother at 2. Me and my little brother like 2, 3 years apart. So around like 2 or 3, he came into the world, and I just remember I was just like, what the fuck? Like, just figuring shit out. Like I had to step up to that big bro role, but I never lost that initial. That's why I said I was between 1 to 5, because I realized it from like 2 when my brother was born. I had already knew before 2, before my brother was born. Does that make sense? So about 1 to 2, just to be exact. But we can just say 1 to 5. When my brother was here, I was like, oh shit. I had to switch to a different mindset, but I still had that original mindset of shit is not the same. Shit is not uh everything's not what it seems. You can't judge a book by its cover type of shit. So boom, 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 boom. Shit start happening, trauma, generational curse shit, shit that travels through your bloodline. And when it comes to the generational curses and the trauma and all that shit, it literally travels through the blood. There's really only one race, which is a human race, but like depending on your specific bloodline, your ancestors and how you grew up, everything that was passed down, you are your ancestors, and that blood contains certain DNA patterns and things that are automatically going to be passed down no matter what. Like most of the men in my family over 6 feet, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that same gene. Most of the men in my family got big nose, big lips. I'm gonna go ahead and get that same gene. That's just to name a few, but it's like that's just a few physical attributes, but like certain things are gonna be passed down through your bloodline no matter what. Like even if there were certain thoughts that your parents had, they may not have acted on them. But whenever you're born, you're acting on all the thoughts that they thought about but never did. You're just automatically doing it without thinking because it just keeps manifesting and trickling down 1, 2, 3, mind, body, soul. So about 1 to 5, I knew some shit was different, but I was never like I'm still learning the real world and stuff too. And then when I want to say about like, let's just say 10, some traumatic stuff started happening. And I just automatically knew I cannot expose who I really am to the world. I was already conditioned at about 10, 12. I was like, okay, I can't expose how I really feel. I have to be 2 different ways. I have to have my own mindset and hide that, which is the truth that what I know. But then I have to act a certain way in the world in order to keep going through this world, keep flowing down the river of, the river of life that everyone is on. And then I realized that when I was a teenager, it was about 12, you start hitting it. I just realized I could not be myself around my parents at all. Family, nothing. I realized like, oh shit, um, I'm suppressed. Like even when I tried to break out of certain pockets and be myself, I was punched down and beat down by my family and society around me. Not even just family. I won't even put it just straight on family. It was society, bullies. peer pressure. You know what I mean? The need to be accepted and all that. You crunch you down, like they just beat you down into what they want you to be. So I was like, okay, fuck, I got this one identity right here, which is the true me. But okay, cool. That's just to set the foundation. So then I started to experience church. I went to church a few times. This is when religion started to take a turning point in my life. Um, as I got older, religion was starting to be more and more into my life, like from like adolescence to teens. I would go to church sometimes with my grandma, and then as I was getting closer to teens, my mom would go to church. She was getting more immersed in the church. So I was a full-on Christian by the time I was a teenager. But me being a teenager, just all these changes going on, I started to see the dark side of religion. Honestly, at a young age, like things that I would never even think about in my own brain. You would hear some of these stories in the Bible about what men would do to women and what women do, the things that women would do in the Bible. We don't even got to be specific because I'm not even a Christian anymore. It's funny when people come at me, like they'll come at me on my readings. I said this in the reading. They'll say, they'll quote a Christian quote, and I still read the Bible because I do come from that background, but they'll completely come to you with their belief and they'll try to just jam it down your face, kind of like what I said society did and family did. They'll just push it down your throat, make you eat it. You gotta do what I say. This is the truth. Like they just try to make you, and it's just that energy. People will come to you with a Bible scripture or a quote from Jesus or God or the Bible or whatever from Christianity, or it doesn't even got to be Christianity, but they'll come to you and they'll be like, well, the Bible says this, and according to this, shit, you having sex before marriage, so you sinning. And it ain't nobody perfect either in this world. We all got black and white in this, good and bad in us, or however you want to look at it. But they be like, oh, you you doing that? You sleeping with dudes' wives and you doing that? Oh, you lying and you stealing? They'll put it right in your face and try to convict you right then and there. So it's just all this conditioning and stuff that they put you through, and we're victims to it too. Like if you ain't strong enough, you just ain't strong enough. And then I got to about the age of a teenager, and I was like, man, there was so much wicked stuff going on, like orgy type stuff going on in the church, man. And teenagers were organizing it. It was to the point to where adults were not around. Adults were not even attentive enough. And teenagers and as they start transforming to adults, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. It's like, oh, you ain't doing this, you ain't heard of that, you ain't never did this before. Oh, you behind, whatever the case may be. When I was like a teenager, I was fully immersed in the church. Christian, had been baptized, was going to Bible study, all types of shit. And I remember when I was a teenager, my mom was still going. I was starting to become a man, so it was like as I got older, I noticed I could just say no more because shit, I didn't want to go. I'm gonna just keep it a book. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, and it got to a point where I just told my mom, nah, just straight like that. Like I'm not going. It's man, I'm damn near 6 feet. I ain't going, mama. Like and my brother he was on the same type time, and so it's just easier for us to, yeah, we good on that church shit. So shit, once I started seeing what that was, boom, fast forward 19. I'm still noticing a whole bunch of weird shit going on. I'm thinking this is superstition, or I'm thinking I think overthink too much. And shit, about 19, 20, 21, I finally just got so upset with Christianity. I just denounced it. I shunned it away from my life, religion. Cause I was like, man, fuck this shit. Like, fuck. I was like, fuck, Lord forgive me, but I was like, fuck God. I said, fuck Jesus. I said, fuck everything. Because it was just so much confusion by the time I was 19, 20, 21. I was going through a bad breakup. My papa just died. So that's a key point. It was a whole bunch of life circumstances that just started to change. And shit, I feel like I couldn't trust nobody. Shit. Um, at all. Like I feel like I couldn't even trust myself because I knew that the human body was flawed. The human like if you're human, you have no choice but to be flawed. Like even animals, like, nothing's perfect, but like you get what I'm saying? Like everything is gonna be If you do something 100 times, maybe one out of that 100, something's gonna be different. That's just how this world works. Everything is possible. So it's like I couldn't trust Jesus, and I knew Jesus was connected to God. So I was like, man, fuck all this shit. Fuck the God shit. Fuck the religion shit. I'm on my own. Shit, it was dark too, man. I did that for about a year and a half. It was dark. It was a dark path of nothingness. I was just out there, nothing, nobody. I wasn't shit. I was me, but I didn't have no support. It was just me. It was dark, lonely. It wasn't scary. It wasn't scary, but it was lonely. Nothing. Like nothing. You couldn't even put any emotion of scare to it. It was just nothingness. Just a void. It was just me in a blank space. Gray. It wasn't even black or white. This shit was gray. Damn near like you colorblind. So literally nothing, no color, nothing. But did that for about a year and a half. I won't say I was atheist. I was figuring this shit out. I was going through it. I was like, and I remember the first time, I'm finna show y'all this shit on camera. I remember the first time I meditated, y'all, this shit was crazy. I was like, you know what, some shit's gotta work. I was like, some shit's gotta work. I was like, man, I noticed that I could program my brain with music and shit, and I noticed that some of the lyrics I would write, because I always been an artist, would start to come to fruition in real life. Some of the shit that I would think about and say and write down would start to show up in real life. I didn't know it was called manifest. I didn't know it was called whatever the fuck. I ain't put no words to it. My first time meditating, it just got to a point. I just started getting frustrated. I was like, fuck. Nothing's fucking working. I don't believe in shit in this fucking world. I got fucking pissed the fuck off, man. Because I was just at every point I was trying to find just nothing, bro. Just bullshit. Just rabbit hole. Just of course the conspiracy shit and the Illuminati, all this dumbass shit, but none of that shit was actually what I was looking for. It was just a fucking rabbit hole. And literally, I remember my first time fucking meditating. I'm gonna show it to y'all, but I had to hit the blunt real quick. First time meditating was on some starfish shit. I had no idea what I was doing. Everything I do, I've been self-taught my whole life because I just realized, damn, you can't trust shit. So my whole time I'm not the type to look up meditation online, how to meditate. No. We may see certain images and things in our brain, but I'm not no let me Google everything type ass nigga. Just, everything I speak from is experience. So, there's people out there that got to do what they got to do to get their knowledge and information, read books and shit, but like, just young and dumb, inexperienced, didn't know what I was doing. I hit the start. I was like, you know what? Nothing's working. This Jesus shit ain't working. This God shit ain't working. And shit. And it's crazy because I've experienced a lot of women who go through this. They will denounce or renounce God or shun away God because they went through something. They're like, man, why would God, if God was real, why would God let me go through certain things like that? They would always say that. I came across at least 2 or 3 women I've dated who said that, and they don't know if they believe in God or not, and because what they went through, and they seem confused and lost. I often get irritated when I'm around those type women too. When they say stuff like that, I'm like, bitch, you better know what the fuck you know what I mean? But then I gotta think about it, and then I gotta think about how I was at the time. I was lost, confused, man, dumb, stupid, figuring it out though. And my first time, I hit the motherfucking me starfish. I remember my first time meditating. I was like this in my living room on the floor, just like this. I ain't had no breathing technique. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like I was just on some stupid. And I'm gonna tell you right now, didn't shit happen. That shit did not work. I felt dumb as fuck. I felt like a fucking idiot. But I kept doing it. That's the crazy part. Like I kept doing it, not that starfish position. I eventually, fixed my posture. Was doing the crisscross applesauce. That's one of the positions I do. But then I started doing like other poses. Like you can do one that's upside down. I'm not about to do it now. But yeah, I do meditate upside down. There's another one where you can lay down. Actually, I did learn this one for YouTube when I actually started getting experience. You can lay down like this. Put one hand on the root chakra and the other hand on the heart. Vice versa. Sometimes I'll do like this. It just depends. And you want to put the feet together so you can be connected and grounded with yourself. But yeah, there's different techniques out there. Like I said, I was an idiot, prideful, stupid, trying to figure it out or whatever. But I was like, I started figuring all this stuff out, and I was like, keep in mind, I had cut away God, I had cut away everything, and I was just like, this shit lonely out here. I was like, this shit. Still living my regular life, but I was just like, shit, kind of lonely. Like, again, I'm out here nothingness. I'm just now learning how to meditate. Damn, 21 years and you just now learn how to meditate? Fuck, nigga, you behind, nigga. Like, I'm not looking at it like erasing them. I'm just in my own world figuring this shit out. I came back to God. I could, man. It was it. It wasn't like he was mad. It wasn't like it was just on some like, kind of like a dad figure. You know where I'm at if you need me. Type of energy. That's how subtle. God is never forceful. Not kind of like how I was saying. This whole time I'm being conditioned and stuff. People trying to push it down your throat. They trying to conform you into a fucking box, and it just don't even work. At the end of the day, you get into the box, you fit, and then you pop up out that motherfucker because you can't fit in that bitch. And then I came back to God. I don't know. I was probably like, I want to say 21. I was lost, but I think about like 22, 23. I had came back to God, and it was just me and God. And I realized that I had to just get back to the basics. You know what I mean? Because I went through my trauma of being a Christian and seeing what Christians really do, or I don't know, maybe they were fake Christians. I don't fucking know. But from what I saw, what the Christians were doing, even inside the church, shit, I done seen inside the church. Lord, forgive me. Shit, but I needed something. I realized I am not. You can try to do everything on your own, but you need an external source to connect to, just out of respect, knowing that in this vessel you can only do so much. In this, you can only be. I can only be. I can only go as far as my body will expand, and that energy, that source, cannot even contain it. Because that thing is that source is everything. That source is God. Is what you do behind the cameras when nobody is watching. That's God. That energy right there. Yeah, nobody may know. The cameras might not even know. You may even disassociate yourself with it. But universe knows that energy. You can't fake this shit. I heard in the video, and this is so true. And it was crazy that I was already doing this before I heard the video. How do you build confidence? Like, I know some people who I text and I know in the real world offline, and sometimes they admire me, and it ain't even about me, but they look up to certain people. They'd be like, "Oh, you do content? How do you do that? Or how do you even get the confidence to do certain things? Put yourself out there and stuff." It's what you're doing behind closed doors when nobody's watching. Keeping those commitments to yourself, living that life that you know you want to live without anybody even being on your back about it. Like you just naturally I'm just that. I wake up and yeah, I just do the right things. I just make it happen. I just get it done. I'm focused on getting the goal done and I get that done. And repetition. But long story short, I came back to God because I realized that I am no greater than anybody around me, and I can only do so many things. Who am I to take credit for? And again, I don't look at God as a man in the sky. Again, for me, it's a source. It's an energy thing. It's the voice in my head that I've always been connected to. Who am I to take credit for all that, for this creation of everything, when I'm just a dumbass here figuring it out on my own, just trying to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I started to meditate. I still pray. Still read the Bible. It's times where I'll be doing the reading and holding and reading the. I'll be doing the reading with the cards, Bible cracked open, reading the verse in between that, listening to Hertz music. About to meditate after that on some shit. Just getting as much knowledge as I can on my, like, writing shit down. Affirmation, like, stand for something or fall for anything, man. I'm finna wrap this shit up, but stand for something or fall for anything. What's crazy was my grandma was a. I'm gonna leave out with this too. My grandma was a. I grew up around my grandparents a lot. They didn't raise me, but I would try to be around them as much as I could. My grandma was a faithful Christian who went to church every Sunday, paid tithes as well. My grandpa read his Bible every day. Never went to church not one time, but he read his Bible before bed and when he woke up every single day. I don't even do that shit, but he never went to church and he always gave my grandma money to pay tithes, but he never fucking went to church. One time I never seen that shit. Uh, but she was faithful. She went to church every Sunday. So just even seeing that, I was like, whoa, damn. He never went to church one time. And we would even ask him, why you don't go to church? I'm gonna end it with this. Papa, why you don't go to church? You don't need to go to church to have God. I can have church right. You don't need to go to church to worship God. I can have church right here in this closet. Old man, old ass man, old ass nigga. RIP to my papa, but I'm gonna leave it at that for y'all. I may do a part 2 on this and touch it up and keep going, but I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Peace.